Hi, this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and you're listening to No B.S. hiring advice on blogtalkradio.com. This is a time where I like to spend about 15 minutes speaking with you about some element of job hunting. No, about hiring. Not job hunting, hiring. Because to me, hiring doesn't have to be as hard, difficult, painful, or take as long as it does. It's just many of you have implemented systems or conduct yourself in ways that make hiring far more difficult than it actually needs to be. So that's where this show comes in helpful. It's 15 minutes of advice designed to help you hire staff more quickly. Today's show is brought to you by two sponsors. The first one is Audible. If you go to audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter, if you sign up for a free trial of Audible, you'll be able to download a free audiobook. It is completely free, no surprises, no quirks to it. It's a free audiobook that you can enjoy. So again, the address is audibletrial.com/thebiggamehunter. And I know you like audio. You listen to my podcasts, right? The second sponsor is consultingassignments.com. Consultingassignments.com is a site where you can find and fill consulting assignments, full-time consulting positions, temp to perm and contract to hire opportunities anywhere in the world completely free. Posting a job or a resume is free. Searching jobs and resumes is also free. The ability to contact one another is also free. The only thing the site charges for is if you're going to feature a job or a resume. It is a whopping $10 for 30 days. Excuse me, I forgot to mute the caller ID in my phone, so I'm going to take care of that as I go along, so please disregard the noise behind me. I apologize, and let's go on. So again, that site is consultingassignments.com. So let me just start off by saying this show is going to be about the job market as it is right now. As someone who's done professional recruiting for more than 40 years, who's been blogging about the job market since August 2001, yes, 1 month before 9/11, I began blogging about the job market. And thus I was able to chronicle many of my impressions of the job market right after 9/11. A horrible, horrible time in the country's history. So I thought I would do a show about the job market today because we got a very interesting jobs report last week on Friday. Now, what that report showed was a surprisingly low number of positions were created. I believe the actual numbers were, I'm just going to check this, 142,000 new jobs created. The unemployment rate decreased from 6.2% to 6.1%. It was very disappointing because generally from the beginning of the year, job growth has averaged about 200,000 plus new jobs since January. So this one surprised the analysts. Now, I must in all candor say it didn't surprise me because, frankly, August is consistently a time where the numbers are played with by the Bureau, and there's certain times in the year where the Bureau adds jobs in, and a significant number of jobs. So, for example, January is one of those times where they add a lot of new jobs in because they believe businesses started up at that point, and it's they had 100,000, 150,000 new jobs in the January report. August is a time where they don't believe jobs are going to be added. So they tend to decrease during August. Even so, this was a surprise because the analysts basically know that this is going to happen. They thought the outcome, the actual numbers, were going to be much higher than they actually wound up being. So there were a couple of sectors that did very well. Uh, One, the one that added the most jobs, and this doesn't surprise me because this has been going on for quite some time, is business services. Of the 140 some odd thousand new jobs created, business services added 47,000 of them. Then from there, uh, healthcare, hospitality, and construction added 34,000 new jobs. I'm sorry, 34,000 in healthcare, 22,000 in hospitality, and 20,000 in construction. The areas that really were unchanged were manufacturing, wholesale trade, transportation, warehousing, information, financial services, and government jobs. Uh, Retail lost 8,000 jobs, all adding up to about 142,000 new positions created. Now, I must in all candor tell you that what I see for most white-collar jobs, office-related jobs, jobs that require some measure of skill, um, job hiring has picked up pretty dramatically. It is obvious that firms are aggressively trying to hire. They've become much more accommodating. To give you a perspective, I just finished a search for a firm that was filling a position in Oklahoma. I'm not going to go into the town. I'm not going to go into the details of the position. I'm just going to simply say that this was a firm that was trying to hire someone for several months, couldn't find someone, found someone in Dallas, or I found someone in Dallas. They offered him a good salary, nothing outstanding, but they paid a relocation that was, they put themselves on the line for $17,000 plus a corporate apartment. They were offering the guy a great bonus, and they're telling the guy what his bonus is going to be his first year right away. In addition, they've got a 401k where they put in more than the employee does. You go on and on with this, and the guy got a great offer, and he's starting in a couple of weeks. More and more firms are going to unusual lengths to bring people on board, and that's indicative of a pickup in the hiring. Now, why are there shortages? Why may some of you be having difficulty filling positions? Well, part of it is, and I was talking with another client about this on Friday, when you start to think about the labor market, and you put out a job description that says we're trying to hire someone with 3 to 5 years of experience. I'm just using this one as an example. And we want someone with these technical skills, and we want them in our local market. We don't want to pay for relocation. We don't want to sponsor any visas. I must in all candor ask you, where do you think you're going to find these people? Now, that's a blunt question, but I go back to the point of 5 years. Today is September 2014. We go back 5 years, it's September 2009. For all of 2009, the U.S. economy was nowhere to be found. What entry-level people got jobs in 2009 that would allow them to have 5 years of experience today? No one. There were a certain number of people that found jobs because they were brought into the United States on an H-1B visa. Some of them may have already been converted, but many of them are still on the last year or so of their visa. And how many people does the U.S. allow to come in at a given time? Answer, 90,000. So you may find an extraordinary native-born American person who found a job during that time and has been working for 5 continuous years. Not likely, but it's certainly possible. You may find one of the 90,000, or let's go over the 3 years, because it's a 3 to 5 year spec. Of the 270,000 who might be in your specific geographic area, who have the exact skills that you're looking for. And as you start thinking about it, I'm sure you realize it's a statistical improbability. And when you find them, you're competing with other organizations for that same talent. So recognize that your system is set up to make it harder for you to hire because you're working with job specs that are unrealistic. Now, I must in all candor ask, what's so expensive about taking a less experienced person and training them on some of the areas that you would judge deficient? I must also in candor ask, what's so difficult about taking someone internally and training them on one of their areas of perceived deficiency and then having a loyal employee at the end? Now, I'm finding that few organizations are thinking in those terms about training. And that's unfortunate because it's one of the great solutions to the job problems that are out there. When you look at, well, a couple of things. Number one, only 90,000 H-1Bs issued per year. Number two, the labor force participation rate is steadily declining and is now at its lowest level in many, many years of 62.8%. Translated, 1/3 of the potential labor force is gone. And part of that is the government has set up a system to make it possible for them to disappear because, clearly disability coverage and the number of people receiving disability has gone up dramatically since this recession started. I'm not suggesting everyone who is on federal disability is a shirker. Not at all. I'm sure many people, I'm sure almost all of them have a real need. But at the same time, recognize that there's some who could be working that have disappeared from the labor role, cutting your potential choice of people down even further. So I want to encourage you to start thinking creatively about where you can find talent, where you can optimize that talent in order to get them on board. Even if you have to pay for a relocation, even if you have to transfer a visa, and Lord knows you've got immigration attorneys on staff, and if you don't, they're not all that expensive. Even if you have to hire internal staff and train them in a new skill, there are ways to fill these jobs that will serve your organization not just simply now, but for many years to come. But if you want the same results as you've been getting the last few years, where it's been hard to find talent, well, it's hard to find useless resumes, but it's hard to find the real talent that most organizations are looking for. If you want to keep going down that path, continue doing what you're doing. But if you want to start solving the problem, start thinking creatively for different ways that you can address the issue. So that's my commentary about the job market and a couple of things that you can do. I also want to ask you, or invite you, I should say, to come over to my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us, and go explore it. Now, a lot of the site is geared toward job hunters, but there's a huge amount that's also geared to you as an HR professional, you as a hiring manager, you as a small business owner, to help you be able to find talent and do a better job of doing it. You can also read articles from No B.S. Hiring Advice e-zine and other articles that I've curated from around the web to be able to help you do a better job of doing what you're doing to attract people. You can also find out about the different programs I have for your organization to do hiring, whether you want me to do research or do executive search on a retained basis or do contingency search. I have programs that are designed to address your various needs. A few final things. First of all, if we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. The address is linkedin.com/IN/the-big-game-hunter. I accept connection requests from people worldwide, except if you look like a spammer to me. And finally, if your firm is trying to hire someone, send me an email at jeffaltman@thebiggamehunter.us. Let me know when to reach you or the person who's responsible for hiring. Let me know whether to mention your name if it's not you. I'd love to help your current organization fill positions. So I'll be back next week with more No BS hiring advice. I hope you enjoyed today's show. This is Jeff Altman. Have a great day.